Hey everyone, how you all doing? Oh, we've got loads of keen beans in chat. Well, I will give you all the first document. So, well, the only document, but I'll give you that so that you have it now. It should also be in the description already. But yeah, so today is going to be kind of like a beats primer. Partially how to make them, but also kind of what the input of your beats means in terms of the output, like kind of how you can tailor them. It's kind of more the stuff behind it rather than specific formats. But before we want to do this, before we start doing this, the Novelcrafter team have been working like busy bees, and we've done an update on the website. So the app, not the app, but the website. It has brand new and improved documentation. It has listings of our features, some great blog posts written by yours truly. I'm joking, just yeah. But yeah, and it also has a learning platform. So I'm going to spend a few minutes just showing off the new website. I've included a link. Eventually, all the live class notes, like for this stream, will be also on the website. We just need to sort out a few final things there. So if we click on this, oh, it would help if I was actually on there. So
Swish.
thank you very much, Sam and me.
Well, cute. There you go. Have some tat.
Thanks.
There you go.
So yeah, we have our live website. Corey says hashtag Team Sam. Yeah, this is you won't believe we've been working on this since like September. It, it has been a process, but it is so worth it. Like just this beautiful homepage. I'm kind of scrolling quick, but that's because I don't want to, take up too much of our time. Um, and then if we go back up, we have a really pretty, so we have our help documentation. So we've got if we go on getting started, we've got a nice little quick start guide. So if any of you are here and like this is like one of your first streams, if you go to the getting started guide, we've written this to just kind of really help walk you through. There's some really basic AI tips for getting the most out of Novelcrafter without doing custom prompting. So about text editing, codex entries, scene beat completion, just kind of walking you through. There's also stuff about what you might do in your first writing session. We're starting to build some more comprehensive documentation on everything. You can kind of see it here on prompting, AI connections, just easy, nice to find. We also have a glossary. So there might be a lot of terms that if you're new to writing as well, or new to kind of like AI software, both sides of the spectrum, you may find some terms a little bit confusing. And so we've kind of put everything into a nice glossary here that we will always work on to expand if anyone has any more suggestions or requests and the like. And something that I think you Discord users will really appreciate, we have an FAQ. It's all split up into the different sections. We've got it by question. You can click, so how can I open and resize a snippet? You can see how to do this. They're just nice, short articles. And if you don't know what you're looking for and you can't exactly find it just by quickly glancing, the search bar also searches the documentation. So say if you wanted to write, you wanted to increase the prompt size of like your text output. So you might type in increase words. If I just 1 minute. Okay, so we've got word count. So then we could go, there's different scene beats, annotating prose. We can see different bits. We might then want to try, I guess maybe increase would work. There, yeah. How can I increase or decrease word output? So it's just really, it helps you find the documentation you need. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you guys like it because like we've been working a lot. And we have like down here, we have a lot of like really this is the footer on every page, a lot of information if you need it. Help center, quick links, blog posts, the classes. I'll show you. I'll show you the classes now. So if you go onto resources, we have the monthly muse, which this month we're doing lit RPG. So we can go on to the sage advice and you can play the game. So you and then we've got our kind of email notifications here, so that you email like the email list. But you can play on the game. It's really fun. So this differs from the help bot in app in the sense of this just searches articles. Like this is just searching the website for it. The the help bot inside the app also will do that, but if you want a bigger screen, this is a lot easier for just like searching the documentation. The help bot pulls from this information. So we're feeding the same information in. This is just kind of a bit more of a user-friendly replacement from our old help documentation. So we have our monthly muse, great for if you want some writing advice or you want to get some motivation. I'm just going to show you. Listen to the music as well. Corey does wonders on this and it's so much fun. I don't know if you guys can hear this. So this is great. It reminds me like I'm getting like such Pokemon vibes. Okay, I want to merge old and new. How should power manifest? Bum, 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 bum. This is the music that's going on. I don't know if you guys... I'm suddenly like, oh god, I'm just humming along to like some invisible music. I think I've got it. Are you ready to hear my advice? So your lit RPG system shall be an ancient earth where power flows through mana cultivation. Heroes will grow stronger through hybrid class/skills and must face the consequences of a life token system. The realm's destiny will unfold through a quest-driven world. So, just a bit of fun. We also have the blog posts. The blog post for this month is on writer's block and why so much writer's block advice kind of sucks. And then we also have our lessons and courses. So we have 3 different types on this. We have the cookbooks, which are kind of like short recipes to help you with various aspects of writing. So we're going to go into those in more detail during this class, but I just wanted to let you know about them. We're going to include some storytelling courses. We have Corey's Writing Essentials course already up, and then there's going to be another, like a big course coming out this month, I guess, because it's February. And he's been working on this since like June, writing these lessons. So we've been testing. It's good. I'm like, oh god, spoilers, yada yada. But yeah, it's gonna be good. So keeping your eyes peeled for that. And then we have a genre spotlight. So this is on Hallmark style romances. So like those cheesy kind of Christmas films that you all get. So if you wanted to learn a bit more about that and how to write one, that is also there. Okay, so let's head into the lesson and then we'll come back to this and the Beats cookbook as we get on. Okay, yeah. So I also have in this documentation all of the past classes and their Notion documents, so you can access them, and when they go onto the website, it'll be the same links. We'll just transfer over what links to them. But yeah, so we've been looking at what to do in your first hour if you've got an idea or you want to start writing or like you want to dive into planning. But what if you've already got your plan, you've perfected it, you're perfectly happy, you're ready to go straight into writing? For this class, we're going to assume that you've already done the prep work, that you've looked at last week's class and you've imported your outline, you've made some codex entries, you're happy with where you want to go. So it's not like your first hour, but it's like the first bits of real work going forward. Okay. And then some of you might be like, okay, so what are scene beats? Like, you might not have heard this term before, and that is totally understandable. I hadn't until I started AI writing. So, although I'd been kind of using similar things just without a name. So within Novelcrafter, the name might have led to some confusion amongst users on the exact scope of what you can do within the manuscript. Think of scene beats as like scene instructions for a chunk of writing. So not necessarily your entire scene, but it can be. But it's kind of that. It's instructions. It is the what you're putting in your. If you were on chat, it'd be like your chat message. Be like, can you write about this? That is effectively what the scene beat box is for. You plop in your message, there's a helpful system prompt there behind the scenes, and you just click go. So say you have some prose and you want to continue the story, you can just literally go into that box and type continue the story. If you want to add some guidance, you can do so, or you can add in formatting instructions and the like. You can even tell it to output in bullet points or using headers and stuff. You can just write all that in the beat box. It doesn't have to just be a description. You are the director of the movie that you're writing or the book or whatever. You can tell your characters about the setting, you can say about motivations, what you want them to say, etc. Like, the formatting is really flexible, so just keep that in mind as we go on. The next question we get asked a lot: what should we put in a beat? So no two people are the same. I went around asking people in the Discord server, you may have seen it, about what they tend to do in their scene beats. And it was fascinating to see how far apart they were. We had full-on scene briefings, bare-to-bone scene instructions, complicated spreadsheet styles, to practically half writing the chapter as it is and then getting it to expand. I think what we can take away from this, though, is that there isn't a wrong way of writing scene instructions. When planning this class, in a few past times where I've covered this, I kind of thought, I could show you like the different types, when to use them. But the more I looked into it and like considering how much AI has improved in that time, the more I realized that this is such an individualized approach. We need to be a bit more tailored and kind of to help you work out what beats work best for you. So what we're going to do is take a two-pronged approach. We're going to look at the different ways you can structure a beat, because at the end of the day, it all kind of falls into these ways. So that those of you who are completely new to AI can kind of get a grasp of it. And then we're going to take some existing beats and work on how to improve them. So we'll look at tips and techniques that we can utilize to streamline the process. And we'll look at the prompt within Novelcrafter that you can use to help you in the writing of your beats. So what constitutes good output is very individualized. So you do want to kind of look and see if this matches your expectations. If these tips don't work for you, that's fine. We're all different and have different processes. But you may find that what you think of as good prose is different to me, and that is totally fine, because we all have different books that we like to read. So structuring your beats. We've already had several streams where we've gone over like scene beats and the types you can make. I've linked here various live streams and videos if you want to kind of like go through again, see what's there. But we've also made a beat / scene instruction cookbook to help you. So we're going to hop over there now. But I just wanted to say, at the heart of it, there are only a few types of beats, and the specific details and the specifics in how much information you add into them, that's kind of like the main difference. So you can format these in different ways, in bullet points, in forms, but at the end of the day, it's the content that makes the biggest input. So we go back in, we're going to go, so we were on resources, we went discover all courses, and then we came down to here, and we're going level up your beats and instructions. So when writing with AI, one of the first terms we come across is a scene beat. Whilst the definition varies depending on what you're writing, think of it as essentially a set of instructions for the AI to write a moment in time in your story. In theory, this can be as simple as Polly went home, or as long as detailed as a really detailed description of what happens in the entire scene. As with everything, there's a balancing act with AI. while there is a limit on how much AI output we can get in one go, we can split our instructions into chunks to increase the length of a scene. So regardless, there are a few things to consider. How much detail you need, how you want to structure the beats, and what information you want to put in them. The cookbook is going to take you through these. So if we go first into simple beats, this type is used a lot with discovery writers. Essentially, it's 1 or 2 sentences describing what happens next. Using these gives the AI the most creativity when writing because you've not constrained it. You've just been like, if you have an argument, they are arguing about X. That is it. And it is great if you don't have a firm image in your head, but on the other hand, if you know what you want in your scene, the longer the output is with a really brief beat, the further it's going to veer off from that. So it all depends on what you want out of the AI. Given how bare bones these are, you probably want to include a lot of detail in your codex about the characters, the location, etc. Otherwise, the AI has no information from how you describe them in the beat. So you need to kind of provide that elsewhere. So past context and specificity in your codex is key for getting the most out of these beats. So make sure you're editing your prior words for continuity errors and all that kind of stuff. We also include some common pitfalls, tutorials to help you with that. Then we have detailed beats. These are essentially exactly the opposite. There's a varying scale of detailed beats from, but essentially if you start giving the AI more information, it kind of becomes detailed. They're great for if you have like a clear vision in your head of what this scene is going to be and you're like, yes, I want the AI to write this. Here are all the details. This can be in bullet points. It can be in like a form where you've got kind of like, the scene sequel structure, or you could have motivation based. You can structure it in different ways, but it's still a detailed beat. You may find that the prose isn't that much greater in length than the input, but that's because it's adhering to what you're telling it. So kind of the information you would want to include is things like setting, characters and their motivations, key actions, key bits of dialogue, if you know them. And if you also include the beginning and ending of the scene, like the opening line or the moment you want it to close on, this helps with kind of stopping the AI from like running on its own a bit. So we've got an example here compared to the original example. We're going to go into these more later, so it's fine. You don't have to like read these quickly. You can also use square brackets to add instructions for the AI. So yeah, here there's variants, so you can include different things in different formats. But essentially, that is a detailed beat. And now the third and final type is dialogue beats. So think of these as like a script that your AI is then writing prose from. You have your characters, what they're saying, some description. Again, how much you add is up to you. And essentially the AI is going to weave prose around it. The beats give you the most control over flow and pacing, and the prose is very easy to edit. It's quite a clean output. It's great if your strength is dialogue and you just need help kind of doing the extra stuff. You do get a more concise output usually, and so you want to specify when introspection or description is being added. That will be something you have to go in with afterwards, but you can just do this with the general purpose prompt. You don't need any fancy prompting. Plop it in the scene beat box and hit generate. You want to include the dialogue, who is saying each line, who they're saying it to, and any like emotional states. Anyone else present in the scene that isn't there in the dialogue, so because they still exist even if they're not talking. Any key actions that you want mentioned because the AI doesn't know from just a script otherwise. Think of it as being like the director, like adding notes to the actors after, so it's like an annotated script. And you also want to include the setting because otherwise it's happening in a vacuum and you're not going to know what is going on. And then there's a final part in this on like scene beats, like kind of a full scene beat, which takes up the similar formatting to this, but it's over a longer period. So yeah, so they're the main classifications. I will pause for a moment. Does anyone have any questions before we move on to kind of doing some more troubleshooting kind of things? Just let me know, hit me up. But that's kind of like a very quick 101 on how beats vary. And we're going to see them in action as well, don't worry. I'm going to take a bit of my drink now while I wait to see if anyone has any questions. For Sicily, yeah, sure. Corey, stick that on the to stream list, please. There's a 20-second lag, and then I've got to give people time to actually type out the questions. So these bits always feel a little odd. I guess I can talk to myself. I'll just like show others some random bits on the website while I wait to see if anyone has any questions. The Codex Recipes cookbook has things like using the AI to track words, which is the kind of AI-isms thing that Cicely was mentioning. We also have using the Codex for custom instructions, voice sheets, which a game changer, and tracking character arcs. So we've got a few different bits here. They're worth having a look because it's just unusual ways of using the codex in your writing. And then in Novelcrafter Secrets, we've got using square brackets for easy prompting and adding a prologue or epilogue. Okay, Cicely has a question about beats. If you have a piece of text in your scene and you want to revise it, should you turn that into another beat or just chat with the scene? I think this depends. So there are 3 ways you could do this. 1, chat with your scene. 2, you could put square brackets and write an instruction, highlight the text that you're wanting to change, and then go for like rephrase or expand. Or you could put the text in a scene beat with your instructions. I think it depends on how long the text is and what you're wanting to do with it would depend on how you're going about that particular thing. I usually just stick the instructions in square brackets and then rephrase or expand. That's my kind of go-to. Would you use the brackets if there's anything you want to make sure the AI doesn't have happen? That depends. AI often will do spoilers and add things in if it's mentioned. I would, unless it's if it's something that the AI is mentioning a lot, I would say it's probably better to look and find out where it's coming from and like where in your codex that information is being given. If it's like a general, like you want a progression to happen, you could try it. It might mention it anyway just because it doesn't see the word don't. So that kind of, I think it's getting better now. Like a lot of the bigger models are good at at noticing when to miss stuff out. So it's worth playing around with. Okay, so improving your beats. So there are a few things you can do. The first is adding codex context. So done at the scene level, not at the beats level, adding codex entries to the scene context helps inform the AI of people that are present in your scene, the location it's set in, and items that may be present. Say you've got a family with 12 siblings and you want to write a scene, but you don't want to include all of those siblings in it, or the AI to make up random names. You might want to add the siblings that you want present, just click them in, and it helps kind of direct the AI. It also means you won't forget to mention anything in your beat. So if we go to, I realize I've got a bad example novel up because there is no. So let's just go. Let's go Only Dogs Left. So this is the novel that I've been working on in stream. So we have the add plus codex. So this scene, I might say, okay, well, this scene is set in the apartment block. I'm using the search bar here. Delilah is there. We know that Anna is there. We have the different so then I'm looking through here. Okay, well, what are the characters? I know that the blackout dance is part of this scene, so I would include that. The Alves are a family. The Ortegas were another family, so that are in the apartment block. So it's including those kind of things so that you can give it the context. And then if we go into this scene and I do a scene beat, I'm going to go preview final prompt, and you can see here, even though I've got nothing written in the scene description or the scene beat, these items and people are already included in the context of the chat of the prompt. And so it means, like, if I'm doing a thing of there is Delilah goes down to join the celebrations, it already has those bits of information in, and so it means you don't have to mention every single character or the location every single time. So it's kind of making things a little bit more condensed. Obviously, if you're doing 12 beats, this then is going to have all of these in every single time, but it's a good way of kind of keeping track of things, and you know that they are there and that they are included. Yeah, so Emery says that saying that it's a negative constraint works quite well. I'll have to try that. I've not tried that myself. Okay. The second tip that we have to give you is knowing when and how to be specific. The more specific you are, the less creative the AI will be. This is kind of looking back to the types of beats as we were doing earlier. We're going to take those examples from the cookbook and see what kind of prose we can get out of them. When writing your instructions, you want to know just how much creativity you're willing to give the AI. So, like, how much of the reins that you're holding in. So we've got some scene beats here of the types, and we're going to see how the AI, how the prose is going to turn out. I've not actually done these myself, so we're going to have a look. I will answer that question after. So let's go back into that novel that I had that was blank. Okay, I will add the codex entries. I'm going to make some quick codex entries. Now, these are really short. I've purposefully been really kind of unspecific in how they're being described because I want to see what the AI is going to do. So, new location. And object. Help if I could name it. Boop. And now what I'm going to do is go to the codex add in the characters, the location, and the phone. I'm going to set the scene point of view to Bob. And we're just going to go general purpose. I'm going to use Gemini, I think. And let's just see how this goes. We're just going to play it out and see. We're not going to get a load of words out because this is the 400 word constraint, but okay, interesting. So I just put collects guitars and then they've got it's giving a lot of information from the codex. Okay, interesting. Jane's side is the messy side. Okay. Obviously, we've not said what their relationship is. There is so much left to interpretation. I'm wondering what the twist is. Bird calls. Okay, that was an unexpected twist. Um, uh, for house, yes, yeah, it should do. If you, I mean, you can specify it, but yeah, you might want to say if um Bob doesn't know her. There's no web app. Oh, there's a web app, but it's not. There's no like app in like the App Store. You would have to words. Yeah, you. It's a like browser thing. Okay, so I'm going to do this as super brief. And now we're going to give a version that has more detail. So Bob clutches the phone as they wait for Jane to return home from work. They catastrophize the situation, wondering if this is tied into why Jane has been more withdrawn. They resist the urge to turn on the phone, warring between their respect for Jane's privacy and their burning desire for answers. When Jane enters the house, Bob stands ready to confront them, only Jane has red eyes, their makeup is ruined, and their clothes torn. They run into Bob's arms, seeking solace. As Jane sobs, Bob sneaks the phone back into their pocket. So let's see how this does. Gemini Pro. They're making Jane always the messy one. Interesting. Okay, well, because we've not got much in the codex, I think this is a sign that having a codex with too little means that the AI will really go for it. Okay, Deep Sea Car 1, I'll have to give that a go. Okay, interesting. Yeah, you can definitely see how, I mean, this isn't technically part of the class, but you can definitely see how very sparse codex entries get an unusually high, like an unusually high kind of like emphasis in the prose. So now we're going to look at this final version where there is a lot more information. We're telling the AI how to do things. We're kind of seeing how things are. I mean, yeah, some entries have a short description, no. Okay. I mean, instantly this feels like better prose. I don't know what you guys are thinking, but there's like a obsessed with shampoo, it seems. Um, but yeah, I think kind of giving those additional instructions has really kind of helped add a bit more zhuzh to the summary. Oh, did I section that twice? Okay, so we have our 3 versions. What do you guys think of the different prose? 399. Yes, I mean there was extra 100 extra words as well from that, so that's good to see. And now finally what I'm going to do is I did a prior generation of this and with Quarry, and we got some text, and we've taken that text and we're just adding this in to. Yeah, it is interesting. Um oh, so Phil, for Phil, because I'm doing these above, it's not reading any text afterwards. So it's don't worry about that. Like that's why I've been moving them down. Yeah, I guess it's because of based on the names. I when I first did this, they were just X and Y, so I just put they as the pronouns. Um but it is interesting to see actually. Um oh, it's because it's a quote. Interesting. Okay. So this again, exact same prompt. We're just having a go. And I'll have a try with DeepSeek in a moment. I may need to add it. So you can see here, we're getting, it's a lot more kind of focused on the action. There is some bits of introspection, but it's kind of like if you're getting your bare bones, getting things down, and then you could go in. So say we wanted to go in and be like, um, Bob panics. But yeah, I've heard that the API is quite cheap for. So we've selected this. I'm going expand. Gemini. See that is kind of adorable. But it's you can see how well it followed the instructions, and you can just kind of slowly build on your scene like that, and kind of like as if it's like I don't know, you're doing like a statue and you're like chipping away at it and getting like all the beautiful little things. Let me just go scene beat completion, general purpose, add model. Which DeepSeek is it? DeepSeek R1, is that what people are saying? Yeah. I will do this beat. General purpose, choose your words. And then if I scroll down, DeepSeek. Let's have a look. If any words come out. Yeah, let's see how this does while I'll just like go back to it in a minute. So yeah, I'm kind of curious, what did you guys take away from that, from seeing how different amounts of description kind of guided the prose more? Like, were there any that you preferred personally, like any different variants? What were your thoughts on it? Oh, okay, thinking model, that makes sense. But yeah, it would be really interesting to see. So yeah, I mean, I might decide, oh, I want to include some more stage directions in this and kind of give a bit more time for things to go on. Every day I'm shuffling, bum ba dum ba dum ba dum, bum ba dum bum bum ba dum bum bum ba dum bum ba dum. Yeah, this is thinking for a long time. I guess like I'm used to like using the Gemini thinking model, and that just spits out stuff so quickly. I think I've got spoilt. Yeah, I think it maybe is a bit too slow. Let's try again. We'll give it one last go. Oh yeah, give it another shot. It might just be that it's not working, which is fine, you know. There's nothing in the service status about it, but DeepSeek, I think, has been a little bit yeah, I'm just gonna, it's fine. We'll deal with it another time. Let me then just move on to the next bit. Awkward. Poor DeepSeek. The final kind of thing for trying to like sort out your beats and kind of change them up is acknowledging that sometimes it isn't the AI being bad, it's us not prompting efficiently. Perhaps we're not clear enough in our instructions, perhaps it just doesn't understand what a boomerang is, or perhaps we are overloading it and it doesn't know which information is relevant. So to help with revising beats, you can add a list of key points for the AI to focus on. You can add in your desired ending or beginning for the beat, a line of dialogue, an action, etc. You can remove anything it's hyper-focused on. And you can even put in like a few handwritten sentences before your beat to get the AI started. You can use sections to section off the prose and keep editing things and see how it works. So we're going to go in live, edit this beat, kind of add in, try and improve some stuff. For Cicely, what are your thoughts about Gemini versus Claude? My favorite is Claude Sonnet 3.5. That is my absolute like favorite model, the one I use all the time. I like to try and use different models on stream rather than just relying on that to show principles and stuff. And I quite like Gemini's prose. Yeah, I think it depends on what kind of writing. Like, but Gemini Pro is very good as well. Like that would be my second. A boomerang and a beat is just a literal boomerang. Like I was just meaning like the AI might just not understand what a boomerang is. There is no boomerang in a beat thing. Sorry, that's my bad. Okay, so let's have a look. How are we going to improve this beat? I am going to start, I think, by including some of the information, some of the text. So I'm going to include some text here, including some so that might direct everything a little bit more. I might be like, picking the scene with Bob checking the time. They resist the urge to turn on the phone. I'm also gonna. I liked the one that had it. They found the phone under the sofa. So I'm going to include an information section. Additional notes. I'm going to include Bob and Jane as siblings. See if that gives things a bit different. What else do I want to kind of guide the AI with? Bob comfort bakes, but they've run out of sugar. Absolutely no idea what this is going to do. I'm just giving it a shot, adding in a few more bits of direction. And seeing, okay, well, how are we now like just kind of pruning the prose and kind of directing it? So, general purpose, Gemini Pro. Okay, interesting. 20th time, and it's instantly been like 717, 717 again. Okay, so this is cool, but it's got a lot of introspection. I want to have more dialogue. So I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to tell the AI I'd like some more dialogue. Have this action packed and use lots of dialogue between the characters. Interesting that I used to use 717 again. And again, it doesn't read down. It okay, it had more. That's adorable. Okay, it had a bit more dialogue, but not like loads. So that would be something that I would want to work on if I wanted to improve this beat. Or I could just be like, okay, new beat, continue with the conversation. It's kind of those things that you have to decide which battles are worth picking. Like you could just, delete up to there and be like, okay, right, we're starting again. Especially if you have a beginning that you like. So yeah. So finally, how can I use, in the last 10 minutes, we're going to look at how can I use AI to write my own beats. Here's where I say that I don't really like using AI to write my beats, mainly because I enjoy the beat writing process. That's kind of like imagining how the scene's going to be and kind of writing it out. And I go in quite depth. I prefer the results as well when it's a handwritten beat compared to an AI written beat. But I also know that that's not for everyone, and sometimes you need a bit of help just getting there and getting started. So we're going to go into chat and have a look at how we can use the system prompt to write beats, like the beat system prompt, and how we can improve on them. So remember, don't be afraid to add in instructions. Like, you don't just have to add in the summary of a scene. You can also use the general purpose prompt and add in your own instructions into the system message to write beats. There's multiple ways of doing it, and no right or wrong. If you want to use a super brief beat, you don't need to worry about that. Just stick in things as you go. This is kind of for if you want a beefier beat. So I'm going to go chat, select AI, scene beats from summary, the system prompt, and I don't know, what model do I want to go for? Let's go GPT-4o. Try that. So what I'm now going to look at is, okay, so we're going to have the scene where Bob is waiting for Jane to return home. He's found a phone under the sofa that he doesn't recognize. And then I'm just going to put Jane's phone for the codex entry. When she returns is late. Bob, there is an unexpected revelation. And then I'm going to be like, please decide on the revelation for me and continue the scene beats from there. Include lines of dialogue and indicate where we might expand on description or introspection. Just gonna see how that goes. Okay, so yeah, Bob fidgets with the phone. Oh, stark contrast, very AIism. I find often that the beats feel very much like they're a paragraph each, and so you kind of almost need to like expand the moment in time. But on the other hand, this isn't necessarily an entire scene's worth of information. It could be. Like this, you're late, care to explain. This is literally just, you would have to combine some of these together. Also, big revelation. What person? So I'm just kind of giving it instructions, telling it what I don't like, and then we'll see if it does it again. How much of the text that you've written should you have the prompt use as a reference when writing beats? So I usually use the same. I will use the chapter, the scene that I'm working on, and then everything else I'll have in scene descriptions, like the of earlier scenes. However, it depends on what your budget is and how much you feel that it's relevant. Like the scene, I feel like if you've got enough information in the scene descriptions, you probably don't need like your entire novel leading up to that point. But it's worth seeing what kind of like, as long as you've got your key information there, it's fine. Okay, so we've got. It has given more information. But it's kind of again trying to write it, which is a limitation. It might just be something that with prompting you would have to kind of play around with, change. I like that it's adding in like the moments she's being more reticent. I would probably like take these and edit them, but it's fascinating. Like it's interesting to see how AI works, and like you probably get a completely different result from a different model, and so you can kind of play around with that. Okay, so in the last couple of minutes, I've got a bit of homework for you all. I want you to try and handwrite some beats versus AI generated and see what prose you prefer. You can share these with the community and see how others are finding it. You can also experiment with different types of beats and what fits your flow better. Do you prefer the output when you put more information in? Maybe that's the direction that you need to take with your beat writing, even if it requires more effort. It might be that you want to take a moment in time and focus on that and then work on the next one rather than trying to rush through too many things at once. Like, have a play around and see what gives you the prose that you're happiest with, and then you can back experiment and work out how to make that fit for you. You can also play around with the AI models. Does one adhere to your style better than the other, or do you need to use a combination of models, or do text editing afterwards? I'm going to be around on Wednesday at the same time as this, so it's 4 p.m. GMT, or 11 a.m. East Coast. So I'm happy to go through anyone's issues then if you've got questions about beats, and see what beat prose work you've done and just generally kind of like help out with that kind of stuff. If you want to come with your questions and I can like live look at things. Yeah. Oh, I'm glad that the class notes are helpful. Like I think sometimes like especially because I do talk quick and like go on tangents, it helps kind of keep things together. Does anyone have any questions before we head off about any of this? Oh, Jen, yes. Scene cut adding codex elements is like I think it's something that's so easy to forget. Like I forget all the time, and then when I put them in, I'm like, oh, this makes things so much easier. Like, I now don't need to have like a codex list in each beat. Um, question about beats. If you have a piece of text in your scene and you want to revise it, should you turn that into another beat or just chat with scene? Yeah, I think I addressed that kind of like, I think it depends on how big the beat is or how big the text is. You can edit it in a beatbox. That works perfectly fine. If you've already written a scene and add codex entries afterwards, is there a way to tell the AI just to rewrite the scene accounting for the codex entries? I've never tried myself. Um, I guess you could put it into the entire scene into a beatbox and just be like, rewrite adhering to the codex. You could try that. I don't see why it wouldn't work. Um, yeah. Okay. Oh no! Why can't you make it to the Wednesday streams anymore, Emery? And don't worry, like you can always like we'll always be here. There's the Saturday streams. Um, oh, you're welcome, everyone. I'm glad that you found this useful. Like and if there's anything else you want us to cover, I think there was a stream request for avoiding AI filler pros. So yeah, we can have a look at that. But yeah, I guess there's no more questions. So, oh wait, no, there is a question. Just as I said that. Can we use the scene beats from summary prompt with a codex entry that contains our scene details? Um, yeah, I guess so. Um, so like Add codec, scene details. I will find out. Yeah, it is bringing up Bob's Comfort Baking. So yeah, you can add scene notes into a codex entry. Oh, so that's scene. Oh, that's scene beats from some summary prompt. I guess yeah, you could do. Let me. I got the wrong prompt. Scene beats from summary. Let's have a look. Okay, that was 4:0. Oh, under the sofa. Did it mention under the sofa? Yes. Okay, so yeah, it did use the additional scene notes there. So there you go, Sir Beta. But yeah, okay. I will head off now. Thank you everyone for such a great stream. This has been really fun. And I can't wait to see you all on Wednesday and talk a bit more about beats and answer any of your questions. Okay, so I will see you all then. Bye.